Hello friends, and welcome to this Lenten reflection on Saturday of the first week in Lent, presented and produced by myself, Father Tom Casey SMA of the SMA Media Centre in Dola. Today at Mass you will hear the Gospel from Matthew, chapter 5, verses 43 to 48, and I quote, "For if you love those who love you, what recompense will you have? Do not the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brothers only, what is unusual about that? Do not the pagans do the same? So be perfect, just as your heavenly Father is perfect." End of quote. A bomb goes off and my sister is maimed for life. And the perpetrators make a public announcement that they are the ones who planted the bomb. And the reasons are because they feel that economic segregation and sheer greed of those who have power and are in control of seemingly everything is why they are making this statement by planting that bomb among innocent people. Why, in God's name? The maimed person or the mourner of the dead as a result of that bomb very often are very forgiving, and we fail to understand their forgiveness. We may fail to see that this is the power of God reigning in the world and breaking the cycle of hatred. Loving our enemy or those who persecute us is a big test of our Christianity. But we are asked to do it. Forgive those who have wronged us and pray for them and strive to love them without any conditions. That means that we forgive them, full stop. We don't say, provided he says sorry. No Christian should succumb to that way of behaving. We can spread hate so easily to our children, so that they will always hate those who have done wrong in the past to our family or to someone in our family. Words and attitudes are very influential, and it's so hard to break the cycle of hatred that we experience as children growing up towards those of our neighbours, our enemies, of our families, our country even, our tribe. These are the prejudices we grow up with, and it goes on and on through generations. But you may be surprised what the reaction may be when you break the cycle of hatred and reach out to your enemy and embrace him or her. He may be as soft as a cooked pumpkin and even as sweet. It is easy to hate those who cause us pain, but God calls us to love them instead, and loving those whom we do not like is a challenge that continues throughout our lives. How do we turn the other cheek? Jesus says, "Offer no resistance to the one who is evil. Give without counting the cost," in other words. God asks us to embrace the challenges of our enemies, and instead of responding with hate, respond with love, and the same love that he has shown us and is showing us every day. He points out that many of our enemies are not so different from us. How can we translate this to our everyday life? And what is the benefit? Find an enemy, a rival in class, a competitive sibling, a disgruntled roommate. It is easy. It is easy to find those that give us problems. it is easy to respond to our enemy's negativity or the feeling that they are persecuting us with equal hatred or unpleasantness. But this benefits no one. If we instead respond with peace and love, we stop the cycle of hatred and persecution and show to them the love that God has shown us. The path to holiness and sainthood, Pope Francis says, requires imitating Christ by loving our enemies and praying for those who wrong us, even when it is difficult. The 19th of February in Vatican City 2017, Pope Francis, and we quote him, "It is true, God the Father is merciful. And you, are you merciful? Are you merciful with the people who have hurt you or who do not love you? If he is merciful, he is holy. If he is perfect, we must be merciful, holy, and perfect like him." He continued, "This is holiness. A man and a woman who does this deserves to be canonized. They become saints. So simple is the Christian life. Those who forgive are on a higher plane than most in this world. And it's a plane that is reachable. We can do it if we look for the bigger picture always. God's love is perfect. It can only be achieved and spread if we, his children, are actively working to spread it, and if we are, at the same time, resisting the urge to respond to hatred with hatred. The beginning of this week's Gospel references the eye for eye form of justice in society. And it asks us to rise above this need to get even, to bring about change through not just acceptance of our enemies, but love of them. Mr. Gandhi, the great spiritual leader from India, once wrote, "If we go for the justice that says eye for eye and tooth for tooth, then the world would be full of people who are blind and toothless." But we also know that if we harbour hatred within our hearts, then we become monsters. We are doing more damage to our hearts and soul than our enemies ever did. It means also that our enemies have won. For instance, driving along in a car and someone cuts in on us and causes a near crash and a possible loss of life. I can react in two different ways. I can curse that driver and hate him and choose what they call road rage. Or I can choose to thank God that I was spared a horrific accident and even pray for that driver and wish him well. Which one is the more Christian way of behaving? It's not too difficult to answer that. Of course, the quiet way and the one of thanks and prayer is the Christian way. The bigger picture there is that no one was hurt and a serious accident was avoided. And maybe our friend who nearly caused the accident will benefit from my prayer and my good wishes towards him. This is Father Tom Casey SMA of the SMA Media Centre in Dola, signing off now and wishing you a happy and joyful Lenten period.